So, how's everyone doing? First off, I want to ask, how's everyone enjoying Fata Morgana so far? I know that, it's been a couple of days now that it's been out, so I'm sure all of you have had at least a chance to try it at least once. So let's talk about that. Hunt God, welcome, first time chatter, says love it. You've been making beaches. Nice. Yeah, there's a lot of sand to work with, right? I don't know if you all see this map here, but this is my Never-Ending Story tribute using our sphinxes. Any Never-Ending Story fans? Steam integration is something we're going to go over a lot today, actually. I decided this week, instead of... one moment here. Instead of picking maps from... Seisu. Seisu, you're such a boomer. But he basically, I am very excited about this update. I was so excited to share all the little teasers and whatnot with you guys over the last week or so, couple weeks, the streams and whatnot. I'm excited you've been able to dive in. So now that you've had it a couple of days, what's your favorite part of it so far? What's the thing you have been most excited about now that you have access to it? I don't think Hero Forge will ever allow that, just because their part of this is they want you to buy the figures. But I will tell you, if you have a figure that you want, I mean, doing like the monthly pro sub for 1 month isn't that bad. You get 5 credits, so that means you could buy 5 figures. Plus, they give you a pre-made pack of 5 figures. So you technically get 10 figures. 5 you pick and make and pose and color and then buy, and then 5 that are pre-made. But the thing about it is that, I understand they cost a lot, and that can get really expensive for a campaign. It can start adding up really quickly. And I'm not trying to defend Hero Forge's pay model or, endorse it or one way or another. I'm just letting you know that if it does seem pricey, it's very possible to try and kind of get, a little bang for your buck. What I did is I bought a month, and then it gave me 5 credits. I bought my wife's token, my self's token, my son's token. So 3 tokens custom, and then I used the credits that were left to, on Hero Forge, they have these packs that are like 5, things for 1 credit. So I got some brigands and some city watchmen, and then it came with these cyber vigilantes this month, and then we got the 5 free. The free Hero Priest, free Hero Ranger, free Hero Rogue, free Hero Wizard, and Hero Fighter, just for linking our account, whether or not you have bought any characters. I also got a few extra credits and bought a Goblin pack and a few others. I know, that would be awesome, but unfortunately that's not something that's available right now, and in the interim, one thing you can do is if your friends have made a Hero Forge token, they can go and open it in their Hero Forge account, and then there's a share button. They give you the link, and then you could purchase that on your account. I know that's like, oh, they already own it. Why do we have to purchase it twice? Unfortunately, for the time being, there's not multiple accounts. Now, I will say one thing. Vim has been open about this on social networking, especially on Twitter, is that we are working to add a bunch of free tokens. We just don't have a time frame on it. So there will be a bunch more tokens that aren't necessarily Hero Forge that will be added. Good evening, Highland Lass. How are you today? Missed you around these parts. I'm glad you're here. Ooh, I forgot to tweet out the stream. Let me hurry and do that. Will you guys get mad at me if I take a moment? Okay, I'll just hurry and signal blast this. Of course I'm getting the echo again now. I am just muting Twitch altogether, so if it comes up again, it will never, ever talk or do anything. Due to scheduling issues, you know what? That's like the biggest boss in D&D is your party trying to find time to play together. Right? Like, that's the big bad. A bunch of adults trying to find enough time to play a game together. You know, part of me likes the subscription model to Photoshop because I hated buying the new one every year for, you know, $600-700. But at the same time, I don't like payment subscription models. But what I do with Photoshop is I'll just get it when I need it, which I only need it like here and there. I'll just cancel the sub each month until I need it again. Yeah, I get it. I get it. But y'all agree, right, that the big bad nowadays is that time. Time is the big bad for adults. I swear I'm on a month-to-month. Maybe it's because I got an older one or like a plan ages ago. I don't know. I am, you know, whatever. I'm awful. Anyway. Cool. There's always there. I mean, some people use GIMP, you know, and other photo editors. So let's talk about Fata Morgana a little bit more. So everyone's had a couple of days with it, and if you haven't, and you're like, "What's Fata Morgana?" Fata Morgana is the most recent update for Dungeon Alchemist. It is, as you see it right here in front of you. One moment, there we go. I just put a watermark up. Dungeon Alchemist is an AI-powered map-making utility available on Steam. The update Fata Morgana was free, pushed out on the 29th. So if you have a copy of Dungeon Alchemist, if you go update it, you should get it. If you don't have a copy, it'll come with it. And it is a desert-themed update, which features 2 new biomes, a bunch of new room types, hundreds of objects, dozens of quality of life improvements, and yes, I do. It is green, unfortunately, so it goes invisible sometimes. Unfortunately, got to take the good with the bad. But anyway, I appreciate you all being here. I am Mac, the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. Every week on Saturday, I do what I call a damn stream. When you save a file in Dungeon Alchemist, it's saved as a .dam file that stands for Dungeon Alchemist Map. So we call the streams damn streams. I have a series on YouTube where I do tutorials called Give a Damn. We also say that a lot in our Discord, Give a Damn. No, you do not. However, keep this in mind, Danny. You can only import Hero Forge tokens that you have purchased as a digital miniature. One moment and I'll show you what I mean by that. I'm going to pull up a Hero Forge page. Okay? Hero Forge. So, why is that link? Oh, you know what? See, I told you I'm out of sorts today. I forgot to load my bot. I'll load it right now. Chat bot's logging in. It should be up momentarily. Sorry about that, Seisu. Okay, log in. Oh, man, there's an update. Of course, that's why I didn't log in. Hey, thank you for the follow, Psychedelic Hermit. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to the stream. You know, I think that's the future. The whole world's gonna just go to, like, monthly subscriptions and try and, like, nickel and dime us to death. And it's so easy for us to not notice it because it's, like, $10 at a time, $15 at a time. which there's been many studies proving that like the average human, like if they are paying something that's like their hourly or less, they usually, if it's like a one-time fee, they're like, oh, okay, only this much. Let's say you make, you know, let's say, you know, you're just basing it on like, say, like some of the minimum wages that are like $15 in some states in the US. Those people would be like, oh, it's $15 or less. Oh, I'll do that. Oh yeah, that's nuts for like the heated seats and remote starts and stuff. That's crazy. That's messed up. So, I don't mind it for like Netflix or some music services because you get a lot for a little, you know. If that's, to me, that's the cost of like one movie a month or one album a month. I mean, you used to go buy a CD for 15, 20 bucks, right? So to me, that averages out like one subscription service. I used to buy like 5, 10 CDs a month in my youth, or a few movies a month. So it adds up, or I go to a movie. Yeah, I know. We don't need to get into like a political discussion about minimum wage either. I was just kind of giving an example. Right, Elbu, it's a great update. But with Hero Forge's sub, and I'm sorry about that. That's like just so random, you know. They have their own subscription model, and we don't really have a say in it. So let's say you built a hero, right? I'm gonna just open one of my heroes. I've got the one I like to show a lot, Mac. This is Mac Guyver, the Changeling Artificer. Hero Forge works now as long as you update your Dungeon Alchemist on Steam. You should be able to click the token icon and link your account. So let me show you what kind of token you have to purchase, though. So when you go to, let's say you finished your token, you hit finish, and then it loads up all these different versions, okay? Down here at the bottom, this can be confusing. It says STL download and 3D digital download. Do not do the STL one. I made that mistake. That's for 3D printing. Luckily, I have several 3D printers, so not a problem to me. But the one you want to buy them as is a 3D digital. So you can either purchase them at $7.99 a piece, or if you have any tokens or digital credits on your account, then you can redeem them for that. So when you go to purchase it, it doesn't say Dungeon Alchemist in here yet. It will be added soon, but this is the way you do it. You add it or download it for a credit, add it to cart for $7.99. Now, another thing too is if these packs. If you look at there on the left where I click packs, there's a bunch of packs. You get a, ooh, I'm gonna grab that one. Sweet, I just got a free pack because I think it was part of my monthly. So anyway, they have all these packs. They're 5 pre-made tokens only for 1 credit, which is $7.99. So either or, you have that option. Wow, Interpoint Station. Thank you for the raid. Welcome, welcome. How are you doing? We're just explaining how Hero Forge integration is now available with Dungeon Alchemist and how you can import your purchased digital minis as long as you have purchased them as a 3D digital. So any of your creations, you can purchase them as a 3D digital and then use them in Dungeon Alchemist, or any of the monthly packs, the free packs, or any of the 1 credit packs. Thank you for that raid, by the way. Well, the reason they're not, Danny, is because it doesn't have any of the color data and information needed for VTTs. So it's just a blank 3D model as an STL. So you have to purchase them as a separate model. And that's a Hero Forge thing, not a Dungeon Alchemist thing. Now, I will remind you, our devs are planning to add a bunch of, hurt my finger earlier today. A bunch of tokens at some point, and they're working with an artist to do that, but I don't have a timeline on that, okay? And no problem. But, you know, one thing that's cool, let's say you have a token already, and like one of your friends has a token they have already made and they want to share it to you to use on your account. Let's say they even bought you a gift card or gave you the money to buy it. All they need to do is click on their token and click share. And then this generates a link, right? And that link, anyone can open it on their Hero Forge account and then purchase this token and add it. So if you're the DM and you want to get everyone's tokens they've made, they just give you this link. You purchase it on your account, and then it's added, and then you link your account, and you get it. I know that starts adding up. That's the only solution right now. However, Vim has said and Carl have said that they're looking into multiple account linking. So, I mean, maybe don't jump the gun unless you're willing to, or your players are willing to contribute, or you don't mind buying them. You know, some DMs are flush and some DMs are on a budget, and I understand that. So I'm just giving you the option. I bought a skeleton lying on the back. The color went crazy and it sank into the ground. So for me, it was not worth it. Now, I would understand laying something on its back. You'll probably have issues because they kind of are all set around a platform vertically. That's more of a modded token, you know, so I understand the issue there and I get it. That might be something you'd want to take up with Hero Forge as well as submit a token or submit like, let's see, I would lower the ground and try and put the token and then submit a ticket through Dungeon Alchemist so we know that tokens laying on their back don't work. Because this is so new, we need to work out the kinks too. Maybe we need to just raise the token a little bit. So, you know, that's something we got to work out the kinks on, but it's kind of Hero Forge side and kind of Dungeon Alchemist. Maybe we can fix it on our end. But if you please submit a token, Grimrick, or a ticket, Grimrick, while you're in Dungeon Alchemist with that token laying down, and maybe even lower the ground and see, you know, that it's either floating or raise the ground and see it sunk into it. That way we can kind of get some ideas of what's going on. Say what, Grimrick? Notice that? Anyway, I would definitely want you to submit a ticket so we can try and fix it. Anyway, so, oh yeah, my face is in the way, so you can't see these 3D digital token things. Let me hurry and just hide my camera. So, down at the very bottom, when you have a mini and you're ready to purchase it, the last option is 3D digital. Do not get the 3D download for printing. Get the 3D digital. This allows it to work in all the VTTs that it's compatible with, the Hero Forge system is compatible with. So, you know, Tailspire, and in this case, Dungeon Alchemist, and a few others. Anyway. Now we know, and knowing's half the battle, right? Hurry and hide this monitor and... Alchemist. Where is it? Oh my goodness. There you are. Sorry about that, everyone. So welcome back to the stream. Again, we're in Bottom Organa. We're talking about how you link your tokens from Hero Forge and what type of tokens you had to have purchased. I am Mac, the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. So if you have any questions about our program, how it operates, how to build a certain thing, or how to accomplish a certain build, or if you're just, you know, genuinely curious and have questions, feel free to ask. Let me turn my face cam back on. Sorry. I was leaving it off for a minute while I was showing that, and, oh, there we go. Boom! Yes, it was back. You know, honestly, I would love to, but I don't have any keys. Unless Vim is here right now and could send me some, I don't think so. And it's the weekend. I don't really want to bother them on their weekend. I'm like one of the only employees for Dungeon Alchemist that actually works on the weekend when I do streams. I should have planned ahead and got some extra keys. We gave away so many last stream, I ran out. You know what, let me just ping Vim and ask if we hit 50, maybe we will. What do you say? Have we hit 50 today? We're at 36 right now. I think we were at 40 earlier. If we hit 50, then we'll consider it. Okay, I just pinged Vim. I don't really like pinging him on the weekend, but I will anyway, and we'll see what happens. Let's see some damn action. right? So for anyone curious how I accomplished this build, I just, hid these little new coils. They're like basically called conductors. And if you have a couple of them close enough together, they'll link. There's actually one under the token there. And I've noticed when I've closed the map and reload it, they unlink for some reason, and I have to resize this and resize it back because I'm hiding it in the token to kind of give off the indication that, it's shocking, that guy. But anyway, that is what I did there. And all I did was raise it up and put it on one of the pillars under structural. If you go to structural and masonry, there's a few oddball objects that are kind of interesting. This particular pillar is the only pillar in Dungeon Alchemist that can stack things on top of it. So what I do is I like to use it to raise objects up really high. And if you notice, if you're in a vertical, kind of looking down on it, it's much easier to stack objects. So you could keep stacking these pillars up and kind of use them in your builds randomly that way. Anyway, I use that to put the conductor up inside of it. And these conductors, you can just go into your object panel and type electricity or conductor. Coil is also a thing. And remember, if you like an object, you can now favorite it, and it'll show up in your favorites. So it's much easier to find than ever before. Yeah, notice that middle one is really having issues. I had to play with it a lot, lass. A lot. Hey, welcome back, Raven. That is a good question, just a little mad. I know there's a ceiling, a build limit, so that's probably right about where it is. A lot of our objects under structural can be stacked, like these stone platforms or these stone constructions particularly. A lot of people will use these in building like keeps and castle walls because they're thicker. They can be made, they automatically snap together. And if you hold shift when you place them, you just can keep stacking them on top of each other. Let's see if I can find a limit here. It won't let me stack above this. They're like not going up. Sky is the limit. Okay, so we won't be getting any keys for this stream, unfortunately. So I won't be promising a giveaway. Bim, who usually issues me keys, is not at his computer at the moment or near it. He's out and about. It's his weekend, so. And I imagine after having a solid launch with, Fata Morgana and working really hard up to that point, probably wanted some time off, which is well deserved. So that's a failure on my part. Next weekend, if we, we'll try and do a giveaway if we can, okay? I should have asked before, but I had like I said, a crazy day yesterday. Welcome, Merzanek. How you doing? And thank you for the follow, by the way. So, we're gonna move on and showcase the winner of the Dam Challenge, which we usually every week we do what's called the Dam Challenge, and we have a simple 1 to 2 word theme that I announce, and that theme is what you use to build a map of any shape or size, and then you submit that map in our Discord in a thread under a DA Community Creations channel called Dam Challenge. And I go through and I look at those random different entries and I pick one, and that winner, their map is the map showcased on the stream. It's kind of like mad props for winning. And it also, if let's say you're a cartographer who makes commissions or does like a Patreon or whatever, it's a good way to get your name out there as well. But that's why I like doing these streams, is I love to showcase the interesting things that you can do. And I actually got this idea because of Highland Lass's build she shared on our Discord last week. And it's like a crazy druid circle with like electricity spinning through it. It was very awesome. And I just took that and thought, well, you know, we have these sphinxes and I've always loved Neverending Story, so why not try and make it work? So that was my build, you know. Oh, Zootastic, thank you so much for that follow. Welcome again to the channel. So, Highland, thank you so much, Highland Lass, for this wonderfully inspiring idea. I just took it and went to the next level, you know? So, we're going to move on and announce the winner of last week's Dam stream. Or, I mean, of the Dam challenge, which was actually a couple weeks ago, because for the last 2 weeks on stream, we've been slowly revealing Fata Morgana content, so we put those announcements of the Dam challenge to the wayside. So a lot of you are new to it, and are like, what's the Dam challenge? So first things first, I've got a new Dam challenge ready for this week. The theme of the week is checkpoint. So using that as inspiration, I would love for you who are interested to create a map and submit it in our Discord. And I will pick a winner sometime throughout the week for next week. I appreciate that, Lass. Honestly, it's a beautiful map. Absolutely stunning. So, next week's is Checkpoint. So we're going to announce the winner of a couple weeks ago really quickly. And because it was open so long, I decided... So let me save this because I... Oops. Come on, guy. I am messing up. Okay. And actually going forward, I just noticed that we have VIP badges for the channel now because we have had enough followers. We've hit all the like the various milestones and achievements to get them. So I'm going to give the winner each week a VIP badge, and they can keep that for a month. And then after that, I remove it unless they win again. You know what I mean? So we have the next challenge. Let me move this up here. Let's see. So we had 2 winners, okay? The first winner was Aloe Vera, who made this just absolutely stunning map, which is a Shrine to the Forge, is what they called it. I'm going to turn down my quality a little bit so the frame rate goes up. There we go. And it is just an absolutely beautifully designed map. I love me a good forge or foundry, and this really captures that energy, I'm not gonna lie, like to a T. And it looks like a dwarven foundry where there's just tons of lava below. And they use those big square lava pits for the forges that are like under, I think, forge actually. Like this or whatever. Yeah. And then they just kind of stacked them together using the collision toggle, put rocks all around it. So the collisions are turned off. By the way, we rooted out a bug where collisions wouldn't stay off all the time, and it was because if you were out of place objects, let's say you were in lighting and there was a random object you just wanted to grab and move because you could select it, collisions would disable when you were outside of place objects. So Carl couldn't figure out what the bug was and he couldn't find it, but I kept running into it and other people kept running into it, and I finally made the connection. We figured it out. Honestly, Aloe Vera destroyed it with this map. It's a very stunning map. Aloe, are you here right now? But this map really is just, whew, let's just say it's quite literally fire. And it... Hey, Sushi, how you doing? Welcome. So for those of you just joining, I am Mac, the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. Dungeon Alchemist is an AI-powered map maker. It's available on Steam, and it allows you to build maps for your TTRPG campaigns for, you know, games such as D&D or Pathfinder, etc. And we're showcasing some community-built maps. This one was made by one of our very talented creators, Aloe Vera. Thank you for dropping that link, Seisu. Dungeon Alchemist is, like I said, available on Steam, and we just pushed out a very, very cool update titled Fata Morgana. Dungeon Alchemist launched as part of a Kickstarter years ago. They hit all of their stretch goals, or years ago, like a year ago. I wasn't part of the team then, and then they released Dungeon Alchemist at the end of March. I joined the team around that time, and but basically, we release an update every, you know, 1 to 3, or every 2 to 3 months or so. And those updates are all individual stretch goals that were part of that Kickstarter. So the most recent one was titled Fata Morgana, which was a desert-themed update. Dirty Rollers, how you doing, man? How'd you do? Were you able to do your giveaway, man? How'd it go? Hope you're doing well. I've actually been coming up with a new idea for a new competition that I'd like to do on the Discord, and you know the game Hot Potato, right? Has anyone ever played Hot Potato as a kid? Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. 1 second. Can't feel the chill for the whole stream. Oh, that's a bummer, man. I appreciate you popping in. Thank you for saying hi. Well, so our builder, J Pizza Beats, by the way, love that name. Something about it just appeals to me. So, basically, first and foremost, our builder is a combination AI map making utility, but also has the ability to make maps by hand. So it's a combination tool, so you can get AI generated maps of a certain structural, a certain structure and design within the certain biomes we've created for it, and the certain environments we've tailored to it. And our AI is getting advanced and better every update. By the way, they're slowly refining it and making it better. But, you know, I'm not the developer myself, so I can't speak to all the ins and outs of the AI. But I will say that compared to most other map makers, our map making is incredibly simple and very fast. I've used others like Incarnate. I've used, just some other different map making utilities, and I've seen some other ones out there, and ours stands out for that reason. I'll give you a demonstration here in a minute after I finish showcasing the winners of our competition a couple weeks ago. We're actually showcasing that right now, and it's called the Damn Challenge. So when you save a file in our program, Dungeon Alchemist, it saves as a .dam, which stands for Dungeon Alchemist map. We just say give a damn or damn challenge, and we lay into that a little bit because it's fun, you know. We call this the damn stream. Oh yeah, let's do that. So one thing we just added in our most recent update was the ability to link your Hero Forge account if you have one and drop your Hero Forge minis in. So this is actually my token here. This is MacGyver, the Changeling Artificer. If you click on the eye on the token, it goes into first-person mode, and then you can kind of just roam around the map and check it out. But from the top down, you only get a limited perspective, and this is a great way to, say, record scenes for, like, maybe a chase scene or an intro cinematic, like a handout or a scene that triggers when you enter this area for the first time or when your players do. So let's say you use, like, Foundry or Fantasy Grounds. That could be something you trigger. through your VTT, and you have that top down that they play in, but you have a first person view, or they could look at it by clicking. You can show them by clicking on their tokens and viewing, or you can record, take screenshots, etc. So this is actually a brand new feature that just launched 2 days ago in Fata Morgana. It is hot in here, right? Feeling hot, hot, hot. I really love the first person. Some people don't like it because of the head bobbing. I really enjoy that because it adds a sense of realism to it. Oh my gosh, this just looks so beautiful. Getting down at this level in Dungeon Alchemist really lets some maps shine, because when you're in top down, you don't see some of this stuff under here. I'm gonna actually show him right now how that works. We're gonna go to new map. So when you go to generate your map, you could set it up for print or digital. Let's say you play in person, you want to print. You can either set it up for your printer size, or you could print it based on like a poster size and take the file to a print shop, etc. Or if you have a printer that can handle that. Alternatively, you can set it as a bigger file and then rasterize it and break it into much smaller printable images. So that's the print aspect. Digital is usually what I use, so I'm going to just show you in here. You set your map aspect, and by the way, you could create a digital map, save it as a JPEG, and also print that. So there's no real major distinction other than print sets it up for individual paper sizes and makes it easier. So you set your map size. Let's go to 40 by 40 here, just for fun. Now, this is where the AI really shines, okay? You can set a biome. So we just added 2 new biomes, Badlands and Desert. Let's check out Badlands. We're going to generate one of the many, I wish they put topography here, but they put elevations. So one of my favorite new topographies is the Grand Canyon that we added. I'll also set it to be, like have an oasis type water situation, and we'll have some cacti, and we'll set it at water level. So you have all these different variations that you could set. So you could say, oh, I want dry bushes. Oh, I want cacti. Oh, I want no vegetation. Oh, I want it flooded, etc. And then that kind of guides the AI for the map making process. You hit create, and within, seconds, you have a map. This is an AI drawn Grand Canyon. Okay, let's say you're not vibing with this. You want to change it. You can click on the terrain tool, click edit terrain, and you could just hit change terrain and it'll swap it up and generate a new one. Similar to most AI generatable stuff, it'll start generating things. You could play around with these different water types, change it to a river. Did I actually click it? Oh, wow. There we go. And then it split it up into like a diverted river here with more options and more uniqueness to it. Let's say you don't want Badlands and you want it to be desert. Change it to desert. So you can go through and essentially in seconds create battle maps for your players, which is a great tool for DMs and GMs out there, because let's say your players go off the beaten path or go somewhere you didn't plan on, and you need a battle map for, an environmental map for them to traverse through, and you could just generate it in moments. Now, let's say you want to draw a room in these environments. You have all these different environmental types. Abandoned ruins, 5 different room types. Alchemist laboratory, castle, crypt. Desert is the newest one we just added. So under desert, we have hovels, laboratories, palace baths, palace hammams, tea rooms, throne rooms, etc. You see what I mean? So let's put up a tent shop up here on this weird mesa. So just like that, we generated a room, and it uses the tent walls as its basis and uses certain AI, kind of guidance based on the type of room, and then it fills that room and generates it. Let's say you don't like this room, you want to change it, you could select the room and just hit refresh, and it'll generate a new room, completely different from the one before. Well, subtly different. You can also go into the AI settings and guide it even more. You could say disable light or whatever. If you're drawing a new room, you have even more options. So I'm going to just draw a room over this room, and we're going to actually, let's say disable windows, because why do you need windows if it's in the wall like that? And we're actually going to change it to a laboratory, and let's get rid of the door, and that's it. So you could turn off objects, lights, walls, etc. then it'll generate a room. And you could just keep hitting here and refreshing it and generate new ones, and it'll use the object types for that type of room and start generating different ones. You can do it over and over and over again, and they're almost infinitely different. So you can keep doing it until you get something you like or make it subtly different. You can get in here and go into objects and, you know, put in new objects by hand. You could delete objects by clicking on them or duplicate them. By the way, we added a new feature, quality of life feature, in the most recent update. It is actually tooltips, if you guys aren't familiar with what that is. When you click on an object, you can actually click the plus button and you know the name of the object now. It says bowl. So let's say you just want to search for that object. You can now search for it and you can find it. The AI toggle is a new feature in the most recent update. So you can guide the AI. What's great about this, let's say you want to generate a room without walls. So you just wanted to make, like, this isn't the best map for it. Here, let me change the terrain really quick. We're going to change it to flat with a river desert. Yeah, I clicked it. It's just taking a second. So now that we have a flat terrain, you can kind of see this room on it. Let's just change the room up a little bit. What's great about the new AI guiding, you know, checking checkboxes and whatnot, let's say you want a room without walls, without objects. It now has rooms without walls. This can be used to make roads, alleys, you know, just flat, you know, patios, etc. This is a really neat new feature, actually. So, Pizza, did that answer your questions at all? I hope I kind of dove in deep enough and really gave you what you were looking for there, my guy. And I'm sorry if that wasn't an answer to your question, and I could try and elaborate more. But essentially, using our tools, you can draw entire, you know, buildings, entire communities. Let's say you want to draw, you know, for a village, you want a smithy. Let's hurry and draw us a smithy. We'll hurry and generate a smithy. Let's say you now want a tavern or a brewery next door. Let's add a brewery. And let's go back and say we want a bakery, right? Just keep adding all these different businesses. And notice I had made all those square. I could add the different shapes out to it, make this like a little different size stuff. And our AI generates within this square boxy environment. But you can kind of manipulate and shape it to different shapes and sizes. So as you could see here, we went through and generated a bunch of different, you know, rooms, environments, etc. in just a moment. Now let's say I want to fill this environment out. We have our object brush where we could go through and add some nature. Let's add some jungle foliage. And you can also adjust the density and the brush size, so you could fill bigger areas all at once. Really like this new moss brush. In there with it. Anyway, so there's all these different brushes. Let's do some desert stone here. I like doing like rock wall like that. You can also change the brush size, and then that decreases the size of the stones. Anyway, so I didn't randomly generate the environment. I just made a basic flat environment with a river, and then I started building it. So you have the option to build by hand. You could go into each of these houses and flesh things out. You're like, oh wow, there's 2 anvils. Why do we need 2 anvils? Let's delete one of these 3 anvils actually. Okay, so let's say you don't know the name of an object and you're like, you open someone's map and you want to know what the name of an object is. This one's pretty straightforward, but you click on the object and then you highlight the plus symbol. The tooltip will pop up saying the name of it. So you now know that's an anvil. Or this one here, you highlight it, grindstone. Yep, so there's different water, you know, there's different types of foliage for the water, and then it does those instead. I also love the new color slider we added, so you can go through and really adjust these things. Kind of make them look dead, or, you know what I mean? If you want to make it look like you're in the Feywild, you can do that. We added color sliders to a lot of different stuff in the environment. Rocks, you know, stuff like that. You also can do that to a lot of different objects in the environment. Yep. So there was like over, I think, 15 quality of life adjustments in this new update. It's so hard to list them all, but I see, you know, like the color slider is a quality of life adjustment. The tooltips is a quality of life adjustment. The updates to the object brush, many of you, you know, the object brush may be new to you now, but we added the object brush last update, and there was only like 5 to 10 brushes, and then the eraser at the very bottom was hidden. The eraser's front and center, very easy to see. Brush size and brush density have been tweaked. There's tons of object brushes. Weaponry. Oh, I love vials. Watch this. Make an alchemist laboratory. And all of these vials, by the way, you can click on them and adjust them individually. So let's say you want to, not all of them, but the ones that are colored, you can give them more color. So there's even more diversity in that. I spoke to Carl about adding all the color shifting into the diversity of the color brush, and he said that likely will be a next update, meaning that even more diversity will be added to the brush. So as long as, like in the next update, it'll get an improvement where it'll slide through all the different color variations of objects if you want it to. Okay, to delete one wall, actually, let me show you, almighty. So we've actually improved that as well. So if you go into the wall tool, if you go into delete walls, we've added the brush. So it's much easier to delete one or many. It used to be you had to like click on it at just the right place. Now you just go brush it away. Or brush them all away. Does that make sense? You could make it a huge brush and just poof. This is a big quality of life improvement in my opinion, because before it was so hard, you just kind of had to click like an invisible spot, and then deleting more than one wall, let's say you wanted to delete the whole edge, you had to drag across it while holding left click or do them one at a time. So that's another huge quality of life improvement in Fata Morgana that we had. Thank you OMG Steve for the win, for that follow, by the way. Yeah, I do think that is a good suggestion, because it is about the size of 2 walls, but if you just do it on the edge, right? Like the edge of the circle, it can do 1 wall at a time. It's very possible. It's just kind of remember, the whole brush doesn't have to be on the center of it for it to work. You could just do like the edge of the brush. But it's still way easier than it was before. You know what I mean? Okay, so let's go to the next winner of the damn challenge from last week, because I did not announce them. Really, Highland? I actually like the new one a lot more, but I guess it's just personal preference. Maybe if the brush was a little bit smaller, it'd probably be easier for most users, but yeah, like if it was about half that size. So Sight for Psoriasis made this one. They were here earlier. I don't know if they're still here. Sight for Psoriasis, are you still here? Congratulations for winning last week's damn challenge. Nice. So this is a great example of the stackable objects that we showed earlier in the stream. The under structural, under stone construction, you have all these very different objects that can stack. And Sight for Psoriasis went through and stacked them and brilliantly built these different rooms and whatnot, and then just filled them in with objects by hand. But it's a multi-level structure as a result of this build. And, you know, a lot of people are like, I wish you could do multiple floors on Dungeon Out. You can, but not with the AI. You have to do it by hand. So you would like both options, or maybe the option for a smaller brush? Just a little mad. Yeah, dude, I appreciate everyone's inputs. Each and everyone's, because, all that input on the upvoting, the devs look at it, they take it, to heart. And they understand that everybody has different needs and uses for Dungeon Alchemist. Sometimes you explaining the problem to them is the first time they realize it's a problem or an issue or something that needs to be adjusted, because to them it's not a problem. So, or they don't see it as one. And I've actually, you know, like for instance, the UI toggle, which was something that was added. Hide UI. I love this. And this for me as a streamer, a content creator, someone who takes screenshots a lot, it's great. They're like, well, why don't you just take screenshots in cinematic mode? And I'm like, well, I could, but here's the thing. When you're screen recording in cinematic mode, it's locked to 30 FPS. You can't set the bitrate or quality. And so maybe you want a little bit more control over that. I have more control over that in my production software, OBS. Also, screenshots without the UI are really nice sometimes. This is also great for people who play with a TV using Dungeon Alchemist as a limited VTT. Now you can add your tokens and play without UI. So your players, let's take a look at how this works actually. Here we are in first person, traversing. Got stuck. I should shrink the token. That'll make it better. So you can actually resize the token, and we're going to play with that in a minute, and I'll show you, but makes it easier for you to get around in environments. Oh, I fell. No fall damage. This is actually really cool at first person, I'm not going to lie. You can edit their size, you can't just adjust their color, but guess what that allows you to do? Someone kind of messed around with that the other day. So, Titan mode. Someone had a video online that was just absolutely beautiful. Put this guard in here. But yeah, you can edit their size at least to a bit. Running around here in first-person sight, this really lends a lot of credence to the beauty of this map. You did an amazing job on this, my friend. Thank you so much for sharing this a lovely build with the community. Tokyo for you? What do you mean? Like the city? Good luck. Oh my gosh, that'd be an insane build. I have no reflection, so I must be a vampire. Take a dump. Oh man, where'd I go? Stuck. Oh, I went through the back of the toilet. Oh, gotcha. That would be smart, right? That is cool. I fell in, right? Ah! That altar is huge. I'm just really small. All right. Sight for Psoriasis, thank you so much for sharing this map with us. Yeah, honestly, I think for people who spend a lot of time going into their builds and like fine-tuning them, it's a great tool. Let me show you what I mean. Like, I built a map some time ago, and honestly, you really don't get any use out of it unless you go into it and look at it in a certain way. I haven't opened this map since VODA came out. So I made this map after the launch of Abandoned Ruins. I'm a big fan of Bob's Burgers. Anyone watch Bob's Burgers? Burger of the day, chorizo your own adventure burger. Oh, it's heckin' funny. So here we have little tributes to the show all through it. There's Gene's piano. There's a Ouija board with a box next to it when they captured the ghost, and there's axes because Louise. Here I have burger art in their menu. Let's open the bathroom and take a look. It's just the 3 random things that you're not sure which one's the toilet. You know, it's not incredibly optimized, and me and myself and the devs have talked about this. I have a GTX 1080 and I struggle sometimes with it, but you need to remember when you're in first person mode, it actually renders the map twice. And I think that's why most graphics cards struggle. So you're rendering the map in the top down and in first person. And as a result of which, it has, you know, some bottlenecking. And one thing to recall is it may be lagging on your end in the view, like your preview, but usually the recording actually comes out pretty decent. So just keep in mind that sometimes it may be lagging and it's not a perfect, you know, preview for you while you're doing it, but it may come out still good on the other end. And it's the first iteration of it. It just came out 2 days ago, so I'm sure we'll fine tune it, improve it, etc. Honestly, a few people are having trouble saving videos on Mac and PC, so there are a few hiccups. Honestly, I think, you know, that's something to keep in mind. It's the first iteration. It will get better. It will get better. So even though it's a little frustrating right now for some people, or maybe you can't run it that well, I know some people in our community have 10-year-old computers recording stuff with it just fine. So it's very possible that, you know, the visual glitches you're seeing are just more something you're seeing and it's not actually recording as such. So, when you load up Dungeon Alchemist, many of you have noticed the little remote play icon comes up in the corner all the time, a little notification. A couple of our mods played around with that. I haven't used it personally, but you can use remote play to allow your players to access Dungeon Alchemist and move their token and then go into first person. So it isn't just you moving it for them if you wanted. So that's a great way to kind of utilize that, and that's in our tips and tricks section of our Discord. The link just dropped in chat right now, so please take a look at it, you know. I don't know if it's more than one person at a time, but, you know, test it. See if it works for you. That's something that, you know, you'll have to play around with. We're also looking into adding more tokens that are like ones we create and add, not just Hero Forge. So, you know, there's more stuff on the horizon. So just if it's not amazing right now for you, or it's not perfect, it'll get better. Here we have the bathroom with the turkey in the toilet. Here I have the back patio with the Bob's turkey roast, because he had to make his famous Heritage Farm turkey. Also, I put the little burger dinner together for the sorry, there is an episode where Linda makes a dinner for all the raccoons that eat the trash from their bin. Let me in! Here is my my pantry. Here's like their, you know, dishwasher and their whatnot. I actually made a basement. I went like all out in this build. Oh, you can't get into the basement from there. It's like a 2-level thing. Dang it, I gotta pick up the token and put it in. So you get into I put all 3 levels on one map. So this is the upstairs, this is the middle, this is the bottom. Man, that guy's stuck on the stairs. Holy cow. Here's the pool they brought downstairs and had the pool party, and then they had to put bread in it, and here's their walk-in. Honestly, this is just something I kind of had. Oh, and there's the casino down here for when the kids do a casino night. There's like all the different board games and stuff. Anyway, I appreciate you guys bearing with me while I went through this on cinematic mode, or in first-person mode, I mean. In cinematic mode, if you click up here in the top right, you actually have much more control over the camera. It's like a drone. You know, so you can move side to side and kind of fly in at different angles. Go top down if you want. The amazing thing about cinematic mode is you can take screenshots or you can record, and it'll record in whatever your screen resolution is set to. So you could use this for like looped animation scenes when they come into the area for the first time, etc. Anyway, let's move on to what I wanted to do was showcase a new feature that launched in Fata Morgana, the Steam Workshop. So you can now share your maps on Steam Workshop. So if you have a map you want to share, let me show you how that works with this one here. Bob's Burgers, aka Robert's. Actually, we're gonna call it Robert's. Robert's Red Meat Tavern and Inn. And then aka Bob's Burgers. And then I'll set this to public. Fan build of the Belcher residence. Belcher residence. Using Dungeon Alchemist. All 3 floors are present in one map. Please look around in FP mode for all the Easter eggs. Okay, so I put together my map. I've put all the info together on it for uploading, and I just hit publish. It's too much. Too long. I'm just gonna call it Bob's Burgers then. See, I didn't know there was a limit on text stuff, and that could be Steam-based. Robert's Red Meat Tavern and Inn, aka Bob's Burgers. Dunzo. It is actually a little bit better. The camera's bob and weave is on a fixed path, so it's less jerky. Also, another way to record. Okay, so now I've uploaded this map. Anyone can go download this map and check it out and use it for their campaigns if you wanted to. Actually, I just noticed a typo. Yep, I'm gonna fix it right now. So you can hit edit info. Moment. And you just go in and fix it. Dunzo. So you can even edit it within Dungeon Alchemist and check on it. Also, if you go to your Steam, browser, your Steam application, you can go to the store page for this and then go to the community hub and open the workshop and then see them there. So you can add comments there. You can also vote and look at other people's info and add more pictures if you want. Right now, in the first iteration of this, you can add a title, you can add a description, you can add one image, which you can take a shot of inside the map. So let's say you want to change that too. Let's do it. So click the thumbnail. You're now in you're now in like cinematic mode, and you could come in and take a picture like this. And now that's the thumbnail update. So you can do this all within Dungeon Alchemist. You don't have to go into the Steam browser and do it, but you can also do that there. And it's, like I said, the first iteration of this as well, but within there you can see how many people have looked at it, how many have downloaded it, how many ratings, etc., who made it. You can unpublish it and whatnot. So now we have that. It's all ready for you to check out if you want to. Okay, so Steam Workshop, let's go browse. So we're gonna go look at other people's maps. So you see here, we have a whole bunch of maps. Sack has been busy uploading them. Oh, nice, Reveal Fog. How do they like it? How do you like it as a GM? Okay, let's check out one of Sack's map. Sack, it's the Sack workshop right now. Sack uploaded pretty much all his work. So you can download someone else's map and use it as is or quickly edit it. Before, if you wanted to download a map, you either had to be part of like our Discord and find that map if someone shared it in our Discord, which you had to scroll endlessly to find the specific map you wanted or have to see it. But now you can just browse through the Steam Workshop or search and do other stuff. Nice. By the way, welcome to the stream, one and all. I am Mac, the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. Dungeon Alchemist is an AI-powered map-making utility that allows you to build maps in a snap, environmental maps, or, you know, battle maps, as well as you can roll up your sleeves and build maps by hand, like this one here. Sack takes a lot of, puts a lot of time and effort into his builds, and spends hours and hours meticulously building them by hand. So, you know, while AI can be a factor, many in our community actually go through and build their maps by hand. You know, another thing though, don't necessarily get discouraged if no one downloads your maps, right? Because there could be a reason. Maybe it got buried, right? Maybe because there was like 100 people who uploaded the other day, it'd be very easy to miss, right? But you can also search. So let's say you're searching for a very specific thing. Castle. You know? So now I can search some castles. I think I saw this one uploaded to our, oh man, this one's big, 144 by 144. Nosebag. You know, and not everyone has the time or the ability to make their own maps or want to learn to. And that's the great thing of the duality of Dungeon Alchemist is you can use it for the simplicity or you can use it for how complex it is. Does that make sense? So I encourage everyone to use it however they see fit. Some people spend 5 minutes a month generating some quick maps for their campaigns, and it works perfect for them. And some people spend 500 minutes a month making maps. So, excuse me, that sneeze was intense. If it were me, I would recommend... Whoa, what just happened? Oh, the map is kind of lagging because it's so big. Okay, so let me just set this to low, which will help tremendously. This thing is massive, beautiful keep. But needs more pillars. Are you sure? I'm not 100% certain on that. But one thing you need to take into account in old buildings, especially stone buildings and wood buildings, if they were big, they needed a lot of pillars. Because that's how they held up the structure. Yes, of course, Jonek. You can generate an AI map and go through and edit every bit of it by hand. Almighty Peach says, is there a way to change the map size from in the program? Yes, let me show you. Okay, so do you want to expand it or make it smaller? Either way, I'll show you. So, if you have generated a map that is digital, by the way, if you generated a map that's print, you cannot do this. But if it's a digital map, you can adjust the size at will, okay? At the corner of the map are these little chevrons, and you can make them appear more easily to you. If you go into settings, we added this new little quality of life feature. If you set your grid color to a different color, they actually change to that color and pop. So, even if your grid isn't enabled, they're always that color and they match. So now it's easier to see. So this little chevron, you grab it and you can either go in, and that reduces map size, or out, and that expands the map size. Now keep in mind, if your map's already quite large, and you're adding more to it, it may take a few seconds. Your computer might chug a bit, and then it'll generate it. So yes, you can. Yep, before, to expand the map, you had to draw a room on the edge and it would expand it. But now it's so much easier. And we added this in the last update, but the color there is a new thing. Also, if you hit the escape key, new quality of life thing, it brings up the exit, resume, settings menu. The grid, we've added some new stuff. We now have hex grids. So if you play with a system that uses hex grids, you can now use that. Or if you want your map to be represented as like a world map scale in D&D, which uses hex at that size, you can then turn it on. So if you hit escape and go to settings and go to grid, you could either do square, which you always could do, or you could set it to hex. You can also set the size of the hex. Hey, see you later, baby. You have a good one. Thank you for being here, my man. This is a very new update feature, so this is a lovely keep. I just absolutely love this build. Disable the grid. Right? It did start out pretty good, and it's getting better every day. Honestly, our devs have so much passion and love for this program, and I kind of get upset sometimes when I see people getting mad that the feature they want isn't coming out or whatever, because they put so much time and effort and like energy and creativity into these updates, and it's like, it's kind of, I don't know, like I kind of see it as a little bit petty to get mad that the update isn't the one you want. You know what I mean? Like, there's many different stretch goals, and they're all being, considered and pushed out when they can be. So yeah, upvote that Seisu just dropped is where we actually keep our roadmap and suggestion board. So many of you will drop suggestions in chat or on Reddit or on Twitter or our various socials, and I try to relay those suggestions to the devs, but our upvote is the place you really should drop them, because there's a permanence there. They'll either get merged with suggestions that are similar, or they stay there and they can get, commented on and upvoted on by other people, hence the name upvote. We also leave our roadmap there so you could see what's eventually going to be added in Dungeon Alchemist, or what's being currently worked on. I mean, I'm sorry for the timing, man. I apologize. I wish we could have made it better, but it's like, it's so hard to cater to everyone in the community at the same time. You got to agree to that, right? It's impossible, realistically, to do that. So I'm happy that we do have desert, and now, if your community or if your people end up back in a desert, or come back to that area, or part of that campaign is revisited later in a new campaign, etc., you at least have it. Right? Exactly. There are. Oh man, I am just so happy with this update. I love it a lot. So, what's everyone's favorite new quality of life feature or object in the new update? Okay, let's look at a new map. So, this one here is actually mine. I published. I love this map, and I just thought it was really colorful, and that was a great way to showcase all the color sliders and stuff. Tooltips is cool, right? Brush size is great. Oh man, especially for the terrain. So I call this the Radiant Bazaar, and it's essentially just a small oasis that kind of a community grew over it, because it's kind of in the middle of a trading route where different, people come and go through this area it's like the crossroads of a trade route where people would stop for water to go to different areas. Seisu, can you get that one for me, bud? That question. So while we're going through, I actually edited the color on these guys here, the little domes at the top. You can go through and adjust it and slide it. I think that one's very beautiful. Here, let's get a token, actually. I always like to use my token, because this is Mac. So I love artificers. I'm just like obsessed with artificers. I'm that guy. I know, I'm sorry. And then I also love changelings. And then the new Mordo manual like condensed changelings into like the main D&D like world, because you'd always have that DM that's like, we're not playing Eberron, so you can't have a changeling. And so I'm very happy that I can use the character I want. One thing to consider is we're not technically a game. Any game will get approved on Twitch, whereas our description is we're a tool. We're a map-making utility. And so that's where Twitch says it's hard for them to add us as a category. And I've tried to talk to the devs about us just rebranding as a game, even adding some achievements in like Steam. So it's like we're just a game and they have to accept it. We've gone through all the normal channels in an attempt to get get our category made. And unfortunately, we've almost exhausted all of them but one. User Voice is the place where Twitch hosts their petition board, and we are actually the 4th highest petition on the entire User Voice site right now. And I'm dropping the link because if you have a Twitch account, you can actually go and vote and support it and leave comments. And I would ask you as a personal favor as the community manager to please do that. So not just myself, but all of the DMs and the different creators, people who make maps for commissions and do it on stream here on Twitch, they don't have a home. There is no Dungeon Alchemist category. So they have to stream in D&D or TTRPG or just chatting or art. So all of our community is thrown to the 7 winds and has no home. And that bothers me so much. I was able to get a category on Facebook, on YouTube, on Trovo, on Glymesh, but I can't get one on Twitch for the life of me. So please, 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 and I'm begging you, I'm pleading, go vote, leave a comment, say, hey, we'd love a Dungeon Alchemist category, something along those lines, or even a cartography or map making category. So every map making utility out there, Incarnate, all these new ones coming out with their, various Kickstarters that are coming. I mean, there's oh man, there's so many new ones, but there's tons of map makers out there. And I would, if anything, I'd love to give all their creators a home. Okay, map making, cartography or map making category would be amazing at this point. I'd settle for that. So if you guys and gals and everything in between could please go vote, I would mean the world to me and the devs and all the streamers, creators trying to find a home here on Twitch. Exactly, and you can't necessarily find a streamer under a Dungeon Alchemist category because there isn't one. But you can search Dungeon Alchemist and hope that someone labeled their stream as such or tagged it. They do have custom tags now, which I have always tagged our stream as Dungeon Alchemist, which makes it easier to find. Obviously, our name is Dungeon Alchemist, which makes it easier, but not everyone has that benefit. And it frustrates me as the community manager that so many creators in our community don't have a home for their streams on Twitch. Thank you so much, and I'm sorry to just kind of like... Oh, thank you, Oregon. Yeah, we really are excited to work with them and embrace the Hero Forge API, and it was really awesome that Hero Forge included those 5 free tokens when you link your account. It's really awesome that they did that. For those of you that aren't aware, it's the fighter, the monk... it's the fighter, the priest, the ranger, rogue... fighter, priest, rogue, sorcerer, and wizard are free, I believe, that you get when you link your Hero Forge. Even if you've never bought a single thing or never had a sub, you get all these for free. And that's a gift from Hero Forge, and that's part of this arrangement with them. So when you link your Hero Forge account, you get those tokens. So it adds more to it. If you bought them as a digital miniature, not a 3D STL, but as a digital miniature, then yes. Or if you bought in packs. So like me, I have tons of packs here, like the Brigand pack. I got the Cyber Vigilantes pack last week. Here's some goblins I bought. So the packs come with 5 of them for 1 credit. If you have a sub to Hero Forge, for those of you that don't know, and that's why I'm educating, for those of you that do know, you do know, but please just bear with me. Every month you subscribe, they have 2 different plans. They have Pro and Pro Plus. Pro Plus is a great deal because you get 5 credits. For $20, you get 5 credits. That's 5 tokens you can customize, build, and download to use in Dungeon Alchemist. Plus, you get every month a pack of 5 pre-made tokens. So you technically get 10 tokens every month. Plus, there's a whole slew of other features in Hero Forge, like you get their photo booth, which is great for making top-down or face tokens, for like PNG or rounded tokens and stuff. Thank you so much for the votes, everyone. Okay, yeah, I'll show that really quick, Seisu. So, when you go to export a map, let's say you like your map and it's all ready to go, you hit File, go to Export, and then you can do Universal VTT, which will export with an image and a JSON type file with wall data, or you could just export as an image only, and then you can set your perspective, so you could set it to 3D, you could set it to limited 3D, and or top-down only, and then it'll generate the map based on your settings. So I recommend for VTTs to do low quality for DPI, because the higher the quality, the bigger the image, the slower it'll be to load. And some people's computers may not load it at all, and some VTTs don't even load it at all. So low quality 72 is typically best. Set your grid smaller. If it's bigger, you have this big boxy shape with the shadows. If it's smaller, then you don't need to worry about that. You can export for color or print friendly if you are printing it. You could turn the grid on automatically or off. I actually do it without the grid on because I use Foundry. And when you export for Foundry, let's say, you could do that. But in your case of a universal VTT, I would probably do it as an image only or universal VTT export. And I've heard that works with like Owlbear, Above VTT, and a few others. So actually, when you, Mr. Pink asks, what exactly is the idea behind using tokens in Dungeon Alchemist for actual game? Aren't they just static when you export your map? So when you export your map at this time, tokens actually do not export with them. I'm under that impression that they do not actually go with it. The point of tokens is to give you an option as a GM to create neat, cool cinematics, like such as, you know, scene setups or handouts for your players, or maybe chase scenes, or let's say you're actually using Dungeon Alchemist as a limited VTT, which we have a large subset of our community actually plays in person, uses Dungeon Alchemist as a VTT with a flat tabletop or a projector, and they'll put their own tokens on top. So this allows you to actually place tokens in the environment as well as personalized ones. So like, here's my, digital mini that I like to show off a lot, Mac. And then you can get in that perspective and walk around that environment, or they can even. You can do a Steam remote share, and they can link up and go through and walk around or look around. Maybe they want to see the inside of a shop, or in this case, you could record an intro sequence where they walk in the first time. It triggers a look around scene. Excuse me, does that make any sense? Titancraft, I have not looked into. I would recommend, if you're interested in any other miniatures working with Dungeon Alchemist, please put an upvote suggestion up so our devs can look into it, and then they may be able to make a decision. So, honestly, one thing I would use it for is, let's say this is the first time you load this map. You could just do like a creative, like little cutscene of you walking through the market, looking around, and then, you just kind of like, oh, this is the recording that my players get when they enter this map for the first time. And there's lots of ways through various VTTs that you could either trigger that automatically, or you could just give it as like a digital handout in Discord or however you play to your players, or have a loop or something. And where you use Foundry Online, it doesn't fit your playstyle. It's not for everyone. Not every aspect of our building software is for everyone. That's like saying, print isn't for you, Mr. Pink, if that makes sense. You use it for a digital aspect, so the whole print aspect isn't useful to you necessarily. But for some people, it is very useful. And so we try to make the tool as well-rounded as possible. And in your case of using Foundry, I would recommend recording, take some screenshots of the insides of a tavern, from the first-person perspective. So when they walk into the first time, you could give them a handout. Or a new city, you could do a chase scene where they're being chased through an environment and put that as like a scene when they are being chased as part of your, your setup for your session planning. You cannot program the path of the camera yet, but let me explain what options you have. There's several camera options to you. You have first-person view, so you place a token in the environment, which you get tons of free tokens, so you don't even have to have a Hero Forge account, never even have to link it. But if you do, even if you've never bought a single token from Hero Forge, you get 5 free tokens, courtesy of them. But we've given you, some Barbarian, Bard, Druid, etc. We've also given you some monsters, some NPCs, so you can kind of play around with this. But if you put in a token, you can resize it. So let's say you want it to be smaller or big. Let's say you wanted it Titan size, like a giant. And then you could do a top-down, looking down on this city from a weird perspective. You could do whatever you want, but you could take screenshots in this view, or you can record, as you see in the UI at the top. Let me drop the damn challenge really quickly. Oops. I'm going to close a few things here and see if we can improve look of the stream. I'm coming through a little garbly. Exactly, and those tokens are put in your Dungeon Alchemist only. They're not put on your Hero Forge account just for linking, so you don't have them on Hero Forge, but they're a gift from Hero Forge that put into your Dungeon Alchemist stuff just for linking your account. So, okay. Essentially, you have the first-person mode in the token. You have an option up here in view mode, which this is mostly made for the people who want to use the TV in person as like the limited VTT with Dungeon Alchemist on like a tabletop TV, like a Vorpal board or a projector or something. You can go in and you hit hide UI. This is also great for, content creators who want to take screenshots or use a third-party recording program. So like me, I would use OBS to record, or while I'm streaming, no longer have the UI, which is great. So you could go through and take screenshots like this at various angles, or screen record this without the UI. And then lastly, you have the cinematic mode, which we added as well, which has the most utility and versatility with your camera. Instead of being in a bobblehead or fixed in the, the hide UI mode, you have this kind of drone camera, which you can move all over the environment, up and down, left and right. You can take screenshots, you can record. And so you have 3 different ways, basically, to get in there and really explore and showcase your environment. So I know you have those top-down maps for your battle maps, but maybe you wanted a scene that just shows like a nice screenshot at an angle, so they just kind of get a setting, oh, this is kind of the outline of the setting, and it just sets the mood. You know what I mean? Like, these different angles are really nice. And it's not for everyone, I understand that. But, it does help a good subset of our community, and many people utilize it. So whether it's someone who, utilizes the Dungeon Alchemist as a limited VTT and does all the rules and dice themselves, or someone who wants to have really good creative screenshots for their commission work that they sell on like Ko-fi or Patreon or etc. Okay, so I just adjusted the DPI on my mouse. In cinematic mode, when you loaded it for the first time, it had a tutorial that kind of walked you through it, but a lot of people, I'm sure, just skimmed over it. But if you go to help and click camera, nope, wrong one. Actually, we got to go to help and cinematic mode. So as you see here, you have all these controls. Left click is to interact. You move around your mouse to have free, range of your head and eyes. Fly up and down is Q and E. WASD is your movement. F and R, taking pictures, recording, and then escape to exit. So I was using Q and E to go up and down in that mode. So here's Q going down, E going up, W going forward, D, side to side. If you go up to something you want to turn off, like let's say a torch, you click on it, left click. If you're recording in cinematic mode, it won't show the UI at the top or any of the interaction UI in the recording. It just kind of is not present. So let's say you wanted to walk through these doors in a cinematic. I love them. I love these cinematic stylings because to me it reminds me of Myst. Like the little, like anyone who played Myst, it's got that vibe where it's like you enter an environment for the first time and you look around and kind of get an idea of what you're looking at, and then it gives you a free motion of the character. Okay, so you mean in a map itself? So you may be in a wrong view mode. So I'm actually clicking in my my mouse button to do that. A mouse cursor on a laptop may not have that option. It may be something you need to set or select a button to do. If you go into settings under controls, so there's like this, this is what I use to rotate objects as well, is just I hold shift and rotate the scroll wheel so it's so quick. Or I don't always rotate objects accidentally. It's kind of like a thing. But yeah, basically if you click this up here in the top right, there's these different view modes. You have top down, you may be locked into like particular view modes where it won't let you rotate. That's one thing. Or it could just be a limitation of your hardware. So I'm clicking in my mouse like scroll wheel to do this, and I just rotate. When you're exporting maps with tokens in them, they are much, much larger, yes. So just keep that in mind. If you put tokens in them and then export them or save them, the tokens are huge. I actually had a version of this map loaded with tokens, and it takes longer to load, much longer to load. So I have two versions of it saved, one with and one without. Let's go back into Steam Workshop and find another map. I believe there is a third-party plugin with Nosebag for Roll20 that allows you to do animated maps and scenes. I was looking into it just recently. And basically, it's a plugin for your browser like Chrome, and everyone in the party has to have it, and it acts as a go-between. So there's some security, obviously, issues here, so you may not, not want to use this with people you don't necessarily trust or know. But it'll allow you to essentially set up a scene that has like a video, and it plays and links to them when they go into that environment. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a browser plugin for Chrome. I know they have animated maps on Roll20 now, but it's kind of limited to a certain file size. Let's see. Here, this is the thing. I don't vouch for this in any way. So I just looked this up and found it. And this is like one of the first tutorials I found, and it kind of walked through the whole process. So please keep in mind, use that stuff at your own risk. That's not something that Dungeon Alchemist is saying, hey, we recommend using this. I'm just saying I found that, and then it kind of, there is something that exists. It's out there. Exactly. That's a good way to do it too inside of Roll20 is make it a handout. So make a small like animated GIF, so loop something that is like an animation and then do that. That's a great way to do it. I didn't know their handouts supported animation, so that's awesome. Another way would be like a third-party plugin like this. So you have a couple options, but really keep in mind you do this stuff at your own risk. Well, let's look at this. Any Stargate fans? Oh, what? Come on, guy. They like have a size limit. They get all bugged out. So there's one particular episode of Stargate SG-1 where they find this Stargate laboratory, like a government laboratory, but it's abandoned, and it looks like the Goa'uld had destroyed that planet and taken it over some time ago, or they fought against them and the Goa'uld kicked their butt. But the thing is inside of that lab, Daniel discovers a weird mirror and a remote, and it opens up a gateway to another dimension. And Daniel's actually ends up going through to another dimension, and they're being like attacked by the Goa'uld on the planet, and then he helps them kind of contact the Asgard and get saved like last minute, essentially. Chevron 7 locked, right? But honestly, this reminds me of that planet's laboratory because it kind of had like a bunch of steampunky, like old tech, and they got the Stargate working, you know? Sure, awesome. Honestly, I love Stargate, and I'm hoping that Amazon does something with it now that they bought MGM. Like MGM's movie library. Hopefully we'll see a new Stargate installment in the next few years. That would be really cool. Also, it'd be really cool if there was like a SG team that had like, you know, like modern tech, like really cool modern tiny drones and modern like armaments and like updated maps and robotics and that assist them and stuff. Ripple effect, right? This is a you know, a wormhole. It's a moon gate, not a wormhole. This is a legally safe wormhole. You could put a picture behind it if you wanted. You could put a person back here. So it kind of looks like they're passing through that, going to there, or they could see something behind it. That'd be interesting. For those of you that are new to the stream, welcome, welcome. My name is Mac. I am the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist, so that's what you're watching right now. Dungeon Alchemist is an AI-powered map-making utility, and it allows you to build maps in a snap, whether it's a room or an environmental map. You can do that very easily, or several rooms, a castle, whatever. In addition to that, we also have the ability to allow you to, you know, really dive in and build maps by hand. You can put, you know, objects into the map, draw the shape of the room, manipulate objects into each other by turning collisions off, so you can merge objects together to make new ones. And that's a really cool way to make all sorts of unique and interesting objects. There is wooden broken banisters, actually. Like all sorts of wooden structures were added too. Both objects, if you just search broken, all sorts of wooden stuff. Benches, tables, chairs, cupboards, floor pieces. So you could put one of these on the floor. Broken ladders. A door that just is, you know, broken and fell over. There's all sorts of little broken stuff you can add in. Lots of wood. Map is pretty neat. Vim did a nice job on it. Let's shoot for most recent. This is a good way to see all the newest stuff, you know? Yeah, let's check out this cave. This actually uses a lot of the cool stuff in there. Hey, see you later, site. You have a good one. Do you want to submit a report for that, Island? These guys did a really good job building here. It looks a lot, it reminds me of my mine map, and they even have, look at that. They made a kind of a basic mine track. Love it. There's the entrance there. Not bad at all. Really cool. So do we have any more questions about Dungeon Alchemist or about our new update? I might just start doing a build really quick or open a map I want to work on. Where is it? So, yeah, there we go. Thank you, Seisu. So that's exactly what you need to know right there. That link, Saudelgon. Basically, you really don't need to worry about it unless you've made up to over 100,000 in revenue. So essentially, if you look into that, that's Article 4.1 of our terms and conditions. It covers that, and once you hit that limit, then you can reach out for a commercial license. You don't even need to worry about it until then. So our commercial license is very open, and it gives you a lot more versatility. But, I mean, if you're using your maps in supplements and using Dungeon Alchemist made maps in a book or a campaign module or supplements, or you're selling maps for commission work, you don't even need to worry about it until then. A lot of people have said there's issues, but I think it's mostly down to a couple different modules they're using causing compatibility issues. It works very well with Foundry 10, and many of our community have had no problems with it. So if you are having problems, you may want to go through and start going through your modules and figuring out which one might be the issue. I love all of the pillows and like the rugs and the pools. All of these new assets are great because, so I have this build I want to make, and this is kind of what I was going for with it. Are any of you familiar with the Genie Warlocks? The Jinn Pact Warlocks that are in Tasha's? So basically, in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, they added a few pacts, and one of them is called the Genie Pact. And you get at first level, you get this thing called a bottled res pit. And what it is it's essentially, if you've watched like I Dream of Jeannie in the past when you were young, or reruns, they would have the inside of her bottle where it was like this cool pad, and it had like all the curtains and the pillows and the whatever, and that was the inside of her bottle, right? And as a Genie Pact, you are given an item that they have a table you can choose from, or roll, or you could pick an item if you want. And one of them is like a ring or a genie lamp or whatever you want, whatever. So I would do like an earring or something, everybody could pick something different, but essentially this item, you can use an action and you can retreat inside of it, and you can stay inside there up to as many hours as your proficiency bonus ×2 or something like that. And inside it's adorned with, beautiful lighting and rugs and pillows and small tables. And essentially they give you that description, and I always wanted to have that as a place, and I want to make a build. I have this dream build called a Wartificer, where I either dip anywhere from 1 to 3 levels as a warlock, and just so I can either just take that first level and get the bottled respite, so I have a portable laboratory for my artificer, or take 3 levels and get up to Pact of the Tome, and then I would essentially turn my Pact of the Tome book into like a never-ending spell book for artificer that I could never lose, or if it does get lost, I could recover it, and I'd have a ritual book that I could, cast any of my artificer rituals on command without them being prepped. That's really cool. But basically, yeah, I mean, you could build the bottled respite now because we have round walls, round tents, round tent walls, all these pillows. I was going to start building it and putting stuff inside. Got this little, neat little hookah lamp, and you can adjust the color on it. I mean, it's really whatever you want it to be. And, but the thing is it says it's 20-foot radius. That means 40-foot circle across from side to side, and then it's 20 feet tall. So technically, you could have 2 floors and like a big, if you organized it pretty neatly, you could make it nice. But it doesn't come that way by default. So what I was going to do as an artificer is slowly build it up inside and like bring stuff inside, and then build stuff and craft stuff, like craft tables and extra floors and rooms. And the bottom floor would be like have a chill pad area where people could relax and cook and eat. And then upstairs we'd have rooms, and we might even have like a little cell block. But the cool thing about the bottled respite is you can do a ritual and create a new one, and then everything that was inside of the old one is shunted out harmlessly outside onto the ground nearby it. So you could build up a whole base inside and then break the old pact and make a new item, and then just drop it somewhere. Like have a fortress, a portable fortress already and built up. It's kind of a dream of mine to do in a campaign, and I've never gotten a chance to do it because I haven't played an artificer campaign long enough. Usually the campaigns end, or creative differences with the people at the table, or it's a one shot, so I don't get to do it. But anyway, so this is kind of what I was going to build at some point. I was even thinking of just having the rug be the entire floor. Oh, that's as big as it goes, so I gotta put it on something. Let's put it on. Should be able to. That'll be hard to do. Can't grab it. Well, that's about as big as I can make the rug easily right now. Might just do overlapping rug, kind of going around the whole room, Oh, you can see it in the pool, too. Definitely have to figure this out. But I'm going to kind of play around with this build over the next few weeks and try and build something up that would be my bottled respite. But for me, I'd really like the idea of having an artificer that just has a portable laboratory that when he's fed up with his team, he pops inside and goes and works and makes something and brings it out, Just be fun. You could also store dead bodies in there, so if you have like a teammate, you could haul them in. As long as you can carry it on your back, you can go inside with it. So just carry them over your shoulder, hop in, and then you store their body there, and they would stay there the whole time until you could revive them. And you just keep like, doing spells on them to keep their body from being, decayed. And it just keeps them safe while you tote them around. If you could rest in it if you want to do like a long rest inside once you have high enough once you're a high enough level, so you could stay in there up to 8 hours and just rest and craft and do whatever you want. Be pretty cool. Anyway, we're actually getting near the end of the stream, and I think we're going to just start wrapping up. So I wanted to give everyone a final chance to ask any questions about the various builds and whatnot we've showed off today. How to use Dungeon Alchemist, where to get Dungeon Alchemist, what's Fata Morgana. Feel free to ask any questions you want, and I'll do my best to answer them before the end of the stream. I like to do that at the end there, kind of leave it open for an AMA for everyone. So, here's the thing. If you're good at something, there's nothing wrong with charging for it. Like if you have a skill, right? Or a craft. Okay, I am a streamer and I get paid to stream. And some people think that's stupid, but some people think that entertainment has a value, right? And education has a value. So not everyone may see a value in wanting to pay a streamer for a monthly sub, but some people do see the value in that. Some people don't want to buy maps and other people do. So here's the thing. If you're good at your craft as a DM and you have many years of skill and experience, I see no reason charging for that per session. However, if you're a brand new DM and you are just getting into it and you want to just charge to make money, I definitely think you should rethink it. Okay, I have 8 years of stream experience before I started charging for streaming, if you think about that. So, it took me years to get to a point where I was getting paid to showcase video games for developers. So, that is a good question. Do you know if there's anything planned for space stuff? I know the devs, once Starjammer came out, they were considering, they were talking about it. I don't know if there's anything that's solid yet, but if anything, maybe we may offer like an option to do like a space backdrop when we drop ships. That's not a for sure thing, that's me just speculating. But, you know, we offer lots of terrains and environments, and if we do high seas, that is a lot of ships. So there's no reason a ship can't be an airship and a water ship. So why not both? But yeah, so Saudogon, the thing is when you want to get paid for something, I think it's a requirement that you are decent at least. If you have a skill, let's say you just started blacksmithing and you're learning how to make knives, you probably aren't going to sell that shit. You know what I mean? But let's say you've been doing it for 10 years. You probably can sell them left and right. You can go out on the internet and sell them no problem. So I think having a little bit of skill under your belt and ability is part of it. Having the resources and tools is also part of it. Being a paid DM that can host all of the ability in a VTT or has all the music and tokens and information and tools and knows how to do everything top to bottom and can teach people how to use their VTT, that's also very helpful, because that's like half the process. Almost every VTT is fundamentally different. If you join a new session, you're going to have to learn that as a player. And maybe you're new as a player too. There's a lot of variables in here. Let's see here. With the advances made to text models, aka stable diffusion, for example, I know of work being done to 3D objects as well. Do you know if DA is looking into these developments to use it? Yeah, I don't have an answer for that, unfortunately. I'm not involved too much in the development process, and I do know a bit about what's going on because the devs cue me into things, but I don't know everything. Does that make sense? So, yeah, considering many... So, basically, right now, you can make ships by oversizing our various rafts and rowboats and whatnot, just making them bigger and putting sails on them, converting, merging objects together. We've had quite a few crafts, cartographers make, airships and big, huge fleets and docks, and one of the maps I showed earlier had a couple ships in it. It's very possible, but the problem is if you want to do Starjammer, you need that backdrop. So, what I would recommend is just put a ship on like an environment that you can easily edit out or put a new backdrop in behind it, and if you have any photo editing skills like post skills, you could do that pretty easily. A green background might make it easier to edit in post. Saudogon, that means a lot, thank you. Honestly, I wish anyone who felt that would say that, especially in our Discord or on Twitter or in the streams. It means a lot to me because I never know how well I'm doing, unless someone says. As the community manager, that's basically, I just don't know until someone says, hey, you're doing a great job, so I appreciate it. It means a lot. I love Dungeon Alchemist. Honestly, before I even was hired on, I had something like 300-400 hours in the first month I used Dungeon Alchemist. And then I think that passion, is something that I bring to the table, and I love it. I love the program. I'm not even DMing right now, and I love it. So, Pro 4210, what we're doing is this is a map-making utility for games like D&D. So this is called Dungeon Alchemist, and it's available on Steam. And it essentially, if you're a GM or a player who loves your GM and you want to give them a better map tool for better environments, you can gift them a copy on Steam, or if you're a GM, you can go snag a copy, and you can make maps in tons of different environments. So we have a bunch of different biomes. As you can see here, we're in a desert. So we have Dark Parchment, which is just a plain black background. We have Badlands, Desert, Forest, Grasslands, and Jungle. So we have, 6 different biomes to choose from. Then within those biomes, you have tons of different elevations or topography types. Craters, mesa, floodplains, Grand Canyon, flooded ravine, flooded mountains, hills, flat. Depending on the type of environment you're in, there may be different topography types. So like dunes exist in the desert, but they don't necessarily exist in the forest. Sal Telgon, I would love to answer that. One thing I will say is Vim has been answering on our various socials that he would love to get a winter, the winter type assets out to people as soon as possible. Whether that's our next stretch goal or not, I don't know. He also made a joke about a double stretch goal the other day on Facebook to someone who was asking if something was coming, and so he was saying that it was, what did he say? It wasn't me that posted it. He distinctively said, I pitched that our next stretch goal be Everything is Lava Winter Wonderlands, or something like that. Now, whether or not they'll do 2 stretch goals at once, and I would not want to overburden the devs with putting out 2 stretch goals in a single time frame, I don't know. Whether he was joking or being serious, take it at face value. Vim is a joker. He does like to joke around a lot, so it could just be a joke. But at the same time, some of the other comments, he kind of leaned towards winter, and with the time frame of everything, we usually release an update every 2 to 3 months. The 2-month window is right around December, aka winter. So it's very possible we might get Winter Wonderlands out by then. We usually release a new stretch goal every 2 to 3 months. So 8 to 12 weeks is the average window right now. I'd say we're at about 9.5 weeks average right now since launch. Because they took a month break for this last one and then pushed out the update afterwards. So, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, Pro, you can generate AI maps for environmental maps in a snap or buildings, or you can roll in and build custom maps. So you can do very custom builds. Let's say your players bought a tavern and they're telling you, describing how they're building it. You could upgrade that tavern for them and put a map and add the different parts to it as they pay you for it, and keep introducing a new map. Let's say you're playing and your players, you have a whole session planned out, and they decide instead of wanting to go down this windy road to the castle you have set up, they want to go into the forest. You can generate a battle map for a forest in seconds, import it to your VTT of choice, or print it and use it right then. I mean, that would be really cool. That would be really cool. So, essentially, oh, that's awesome. I actually do limited 3D design and 3D printing. So I kind of vibe with that. I get that, Pro 4210. So with our utility, it allows, a GM or a DM to quickly generate a map, save it, and export it to, say Foundry or Fantasy Grounds, Roll20, or they can export it as a JPEG, go get it printed at a print shop and use it for tabletop, or they could just go into the top-down mode in Dungeon Alchemist, turn off the user interface UI, and use it on a TV or a projector at home for in-person play. You can even add a grid right inside, so we cater to everyone. You can use our app as the VTT to a limited degree. You can use it for printing, or you can export to your VTT of choice. Or you could just export a JPEG and do share that image over Discord with your people and do Theater of the Mind shots. Yeah, exactly, Highland Lass. That's the thing, Dungeon Alchemist is quick. I always say maps in a snap, because that's what it is. It's so quick. Lightning fast. Here, let's generate a map really quick. And we'll show you, okay? We'll do a 40 by 40. I'll let you pick, Pro 4210. Do you want to see Badlands, desert, forest, grasslands, or jungle? What's vibing with you? We'll make a map custom for you. Let's go for jungle. You got it. Okay, so we're gonna set a jungle. Let's do a jungle with a crater. We're gonna do dense growth, because what's a jungle without dense growth? And we're gonna set it at water level with a river. So I set all the AI parameters for the map generation, and then it'll use those parameters to generate a map. You just hit create, and depending on your PC specs and the size of the map, it can take a little bit longer. And in my case, I have, you know, about a 6-year-old PC that is starting to show its age, and when I'm streaming at 1920 by 1080, it tends to have issues. But here we go. I just generated a jungle map in seconds. So if you are a GM, I'm sure you could see the use of something like this, especially when you do a ton of session prep, you know, making maps or finding maps every week for your sessions. This is a great way to just cut that time down to nothing. Now, let's say you didn't like this map. You can quickly go into the terrain tool and regenerate it. Let's say you didn't want a jungle, instead you wanted desert. And let's set it to dunes. And we're going to set it to an oasis. So now, as you see, I just generated a dense growth oasis in a desert. Now, let's say you want less growth. Let's go to just oasis growth. Now it's just around the oasis in a beautiful sand dune map. Boom, that's a beautiful desert environmental map. Takes seconds. So the point of Dungeon Alchemist is, if you are, you know, you play D&D, or let's say you have a DM that they spend tons of time prepping sessions, and there's so much time they put into it, you maybe only have a session every couple weeks, or they can't find time to prep because they're so busy. This is a great gift. Gift it to them on Steam. Or if you are a GM and you want to save time for your own sessions, this is a great tool for you. And when you export, you can export in kind of a varied perspectives. Or you could do screenshots, you know, in our cinematic mode, and bring in the drone and kind of take different angled shots and record and do a loop, kind of like a scene when they first enter an area. We have lots of versatility in our application. I've even seen developers use Dungeon Alchemist to set up screenshots. Like, they'll build an environment, and then they take a screenshot, and they use it in a development for their game. They use it to create the environment, and then they put like a JRPG tune like over it. I've seen even limited development done with Dungeon Alchemist. It's very possible. Add a spider layer inside, or just next to it. Spider layers always take the longest for me to generate. I do know that Vim said they're working to try and increase the amount of terrain brushes so they're not just limited to one environment. So that would greatly increase the ability to, you know, merge biomes. And that's something that they are trying to address in either the next or the update after. I can't promise, you know, that'll be out anytime soon, but it is something they're looking into, because right now your terrain brushes are limited to the environmental type. And as you can see, there's actually quite a few available for desert, but most of them are sand, and then a few, you know, green kind of grass. Yeah, exactly. You can go in, let's say you wanted, you know, some cracked sand in here, you're a road that kind of led to this, you could just draw out a little road. Or maybe you want to change it to be a little bit different sand. You know, you don't like this sand. You can go over it with a different sand type. So you can set the brush size to really large and quickly draw over the entire environment as the same dunes, just with a different sand. Maybe you wanted to add some moss at the bottom of the oasis to give it kind of a greener hue. Boom, donezo. Rooms can also be modified. Yep, so once I've drawn a room, you can click the Draw Room tool, click the Edit Room tool, select the room, and notice there's a bunch of options in the panel here. So I could reshape the room, I could refresh the room to a different room, and it'll regenerate it using the same properties, or if I change the theme, it'll generate it with those properties. I could delete all the objects or just trash the room. I'm telling you, spider layers always take the longest for me. Another thing that's really cool about it is in this mode here you can actually adjust the ceiling. And what that means in English is, let's say you're in there in an FPS or a cinematic mode, because we've added tokens in cinematic mode in our most recent update. So let's say you placed a token in this environment. Notice the ceiling's black. I've actually blotted out the sky so you don't see any environment outside. You could actually go in and click the room and hit select and then set it to show the sky. So it would show, like, you know, if it was night or if there was a skybox, it would show that skybox. So I could see the sky instead of it just being a black. So it kind of breaks immersion in this way, but at the same time, maybe you wanted one where it wasn't, there is no ceiling, or it's like abandoned ruins. So you have options. So when you're recording in those modes, you can actually give yourself a very limited kind of ceiling to help not break immersion. You know, I've read into it and it looks really cool, and a lot of people have asked, hey, is Dungeon Alchemist going to integrate with that? And I would love that in the future if you're getting towards that. By the way, I'm just jumping ahead. If not, it looks really cool. It's interesting. Honestly, I'm open for competition and different options for the community. The big thing is, the last time Wizards of the Coast tried to make their own VTT and builder, it kind of ended disastrously. In that, you know, like, I don't know if you guys know the story, but the developer and his wife, there was like a murder, he killed her or something, and like, it was like this huge problem, and they tried to distance themselves from it and completely abandoned it. And that's why Wizards of the Coast didn't have their own VTT. And I'm not wishing for that to happen again, but I'm just saying, like, they need to do it right. They need to listen to their community as a whole, do lots and lots of testing, and also include the ability to import, you know, lots of different maps and objects and things like that. I think the big thing right now, if you're interested in it, definitely, you know, participate in the betas and the feedback and do your best to try and test it out and try it. That way you have more influence over how it comes out later. You know what I mean? I would love that too, but it's too early to tell. Honestly though, if the devs were talking with Wizards of the Coast, they probably wouldn't tell me. I think because, you know, I'm the hype guy, and so I might get a little too excited and accidentally slip that hype. They didn't tell me about Hero Forge tokens until like a week before launch. So just so you know, like, I only found out about it, you know, like the 22nd. Did you know that they actually listened to feedback on the Nat 1s and Nat 20s and made adjustments through that after the beta? Yeah, Highland Last, oh my gosh. So Vim put in skyboxes, beautiful new skyboxes. Look at this beautiful moon. It's his first attempt making a skybox, and he did it. I think it looks beautiful. It's a really cool, it reminds me of like Sea of Thieves or something, and it's only gonna get better. What I would hope is the skybox loops around and extends to the edge of the map here, so we don't have this. I don't want that anymore. This dead space. Yeah, basically, I didn't notice the hints. You probably knew before me. However, I got to try it before you say so. In all its majesty. In all of its majesty. Look at the majesty. If any of you recognize what that is, I will give you a pat on the back. One moment. Oh, no problem. I'm always here for you guys. Like, I'm the community manager and you're the community. What? Like, I see it as my job to literally just answer as many questions as I can and be like the community funkle. The fun uncle. Like, where you guys just like, these streams, I love it when people are here and enjoy them and vibe, and I want the community to be like this open and fun environment for anyone to feel welcome. And I'm not like, That's how I stream on my own personal channel too, and that's the kind of community I mean, Dungeon Alchemist was already open, inviting, and awesome, and shared a ton, and that's the kind of community I want to keep extending to our streams and socials. You know, Neologiker, I suggested that we added a visual feedback mechanism for this before the update, and they just didn't have enough time because, yeah, I said, unfortunately, the only way to find which objects have it is trial and error. It's a bummer right now, but in our next update, they'll likely either have their own category or they'll have a tooltip on them that'll, like, you know, see how the heart is here? I suggested we added a brush to the opposite side, so when you highlight it, if it has a brush, it'll show it. Yeah, I know, man, I know. It's not optimal. It is the first iteration of the color slider, though, so it'll only get better with time. And remember, we're in early access, so every update, we just make tons of quality of life improvements and fix bugs and make things better while also increasing the ability of the program with our, you know, various stretch goals and objects and assets and quality of life improvements and new features. That is a great suggestion for our upvoting, and I know the devs already know about that, but please go put it. I'll vote for it for sure. It is, yeah, another thing with objects too, while you're here, let me teach you something new that just launched. So let's say you open a map and you're like, what is the name of this object? You can click on the object now and highlight the plus, and you now have a tooltip. So you now know what the name of this object is, and you can at least just go search plant, you know, and search for it. Or let's say you're like, what is this weird looking thing? Oh, it's a spider cocoon. Now you know. Anyway, we are actually over our time now. I usually like to stream till about 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. Is anyone have any other questions before we end the stream for the day? And then I will end it. I'm just going to give you last minute or two to drop any more questions, concerns, suggestions, anything like that, and then we will end the stream. And while we're waiting for those questions, my name is Mac X. Well, my name is Mac. Sorry, I stream as Mac X3D on my own channel, so I almost said that. But my name is Mac. I am the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. Dungeon Alchemist is what you see in front of you. It's an AI-powered map-making utility that allows you to build environmental and, you know, building-type battle maps in a snap, as well as, you know, you can roll up your sleeves and customize the maps and build them up to whatever you want, really. Using the tools and abilities we have, you can make all sorts of customizable maps, from caves to sewers to keeps, dungeons, etc. The only limit is your own imagination. Dungeon Alchemist is available on Steam. You can find it now, and we just launched our most recent update on the 29th. That is Fata Morgana. It's a desert theme update, which introduced 2 desert biomes. Let's see, how many new room types was there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 new room types for AI room drawing, hundreds, 400 plus new objects, at least 15 plus quality of life adjustments, as well as Hero Forge tokens were added, so you can now import your Hero Forge digital minis that you've purchased. And we gave you a few miniatures to get started, and when you link your Hero Forge account, you get 5 free tokens put into your Dungeon Alchemist, you know, tab here for you to use. Those tokens are great for getting like environmental screenshots or doing some cool like scenery, like recordings or cinematic recordings for handouts or scene entry points, as well as it's just a great way to add life and immersion to your maps by putting tokens in them. You know, Highland, we appreciate you. We appreciate all of you, but I appreciate you especially because you're so... You dive into Dungeon Alchemist really hard, and you find all sorts of interesting little quirks and bugs and neat things, and I appreciate your creativity, your ingenuity, and all of your feedback. And all of you as well. I mean, so many of you are so incredibly talented. We have some of the most talented cartographers in the map-making, like, community in Dungeon Alchemist. And I'm saying that because those people that I'm talking about, many of them just build by hand. They don't use the AI at all. They'll kind of just draw an environment and then go ham on it with the tools available in Dungeon Alchemist. I actually personally love building maps by hand. I'll only draw the environment with AI and then do the rest by hand. So everybody has their preferences. You know, if you only have 5 minutes a week for maps, Dungeon Alchemist is great for you. If you only have, You know, if you want to spend hours a week making custom amazing maps, Dungeon Alchemist is also for you. It's great. Thank you so much for everyone being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. Again, I said, my name is Mac. I'm the community manager, and this is Dungeon Alchemist. If you have any more questions, this is the last chance to get them out. Other than that, I think I'm going to end the stream. I appreciate you all being here, asking questions. Anyone whose maps were featured today, thank you so much. Aloe Vera and Sight for Psoriasis with the Dam Challenge. And any of you curious about next week's Dam Challenge, I had it up earlier. We'll put it back up. That is Checkpoint. So make a map of any size, any environment using that theme, Checkpoint. And I will put up a thread in the Discord called Dam Challenge Checkpoint. Please post your map in there. I'll also have a recap in the DA official streams channel that has a link to that thread so you can find it easy. You post your maps there. I'll pick a winner. That winner is the first map showcased on the stream each week. They get a shout out, they get some love, and they get their name recognized on the channel. Hey, no problem. Thank you to you being here. I appreciate you all. New faces and old faces, lurkers, chatters, interactive members, everybody. I appreciate every one of you being here. Thank you so much for being a part of the stream today. Again, I'm Mac, your community manager, and we'll see you on the next damn stream.